Tuberos today on DOOP By The River. It is the first edition of the offseason of DOOP By The River. Look, I know you guys are upset that our season has prematurely been over, but look, guys, here on DOOP By The River, you know we're going to get you upbeat. We know we're going to put some Posidelphine in you because it's going to be okay. There is a lot to look forward to with your Philadelphia. Today we're going to discuss everything that has to do with your blue and gold, and don't you dare go anywhere because we're all going to break it down here on DOOP By The River. And let's get this started, guys. And done. And that is right. Welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, guys, please don't forget, check us out on PSN Radio. All the Philly Sports Network podcasting groups are on there, from the Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, and of course your Philadelphia Union. We are all on there, so make sure to check that out. And of course, the visual part of this podcast is on El Parceros Phillies YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to that YouTube channel if you want to check our handsome faces out while we're talking about the Philadelphia Union. And let me introduce my panel of Union experts here. First up, let's start off with Mr. Justin Freiberg. And Justin's he's still got the playoff background. It's actually what I need today. Justin, what's going on, man? How you feeling today?
I'm glad we had some time to reflect.
Yeah, we needed it.
And I think think hard about it, and I'm honestly in a good place. I think it's we're looking forward to, at least for me, I'm looking forward to the rumor mill in the 2021 CCL. So, if they allow some travel, let's do a little DOOP By The River in Guadalajara. I mean, how we feeling about that?
Central America or Mexico, count me the
Let's
F
go.
in. I'm so down to go there, 100%. All right. Also here today to talk everything Philadelphia Union. My right-hand man, he had to deal with my annoying ass at the Union playoff game. My man, Mr. Tim Levicu. Tim, what's going on, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. You weren't annoying during the game. I think you were more in disbelief more than a lot of other people. It was a real game. It was tough to watch. It really was. And we were talking throughout the game. We'll get into it here in a minute, but yeah, it was just it was a tough one there. And I agree with Justin. I'm excited for the off season. I'm glad we took a little bit of time to kind of process our thoughts here instead of just raging out on a podcast, which was easily done, and we still might do a little bit when we get back into this game. So I'm looking forward to moving forward with the podcast and with our Union going towards 2020.
Absolutely. I think some emotions will be creeping back in. And look, you guys see Tim here. You guys hear him out on the podcast. You see this calm, collective guy. Yo, he is as a Philly sports fan as they come. He is not scared to call someone a bum, and I am absolutely here for it. I want to watch every Philly sporting event with this guy.
Johnny,
it was a lot of fun.
I got tickets behind the man. The man I have seen him talk about a 4-4-2 with me and then call a goalie a bum. Like the man,
the best of both worlds.
He goes from hot and cold here.
That's so true. It's very true. I try to keep that positive spin on it, but then there's just some things I just can't. I let the monster out.
He goes from Tommy Smith to Chris Wondolowski in the supporters section.
Whoa. I was gonna say like Eric Winalda took over real
okay.
Heel.
All right. That's fair.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. I think we should. Like, look, it's been a week and a half. Obviously, it was a holiday weekend as well. Thanksgiving and all that. So we wanted to rejoice with our as best as we could with our families, of course. But we needed some time to reflect. Of course, the season is over, so the podcast kind of shifts over to a kind of a different mindset. But we have to talk about this game. We have to give you guys our perspective of what happened. Now, I mean, you guys know Union lost 2-0 in a heartbreaking upset loss, probably the biggest upset so far in the MLS Cup playoffs. But I really don't know. I don't know how to explain what happened. Tim and I, of course, again, we were both there, and just from off the bat, it just felt weird. New England seemed to be the team that was more precise, in my honest opinion. The referees is something we're going to be talking about thoroughly as well in this game too. But I think, guys, I think we need, before we move into talking about this game, we need to give credit to New England. You think about New England, and they haven't beaten us since 2017. We played them 6 times this season. They haven't beaten us, and for them to finally, put it all together. They took 1 tie and 5 losses to us, all right to the chin. You got to give them credit for that. And they showed up on a Tuesday night. It was a little brisk, and they in a playoff situation, and it was electric. Even though there was about 2,500 fans, it was pretty electric down at the Sioux. Tim, I'll let you start off here. Just what happened? How did this happen, dude?
Yeah, it was weird to see this Union team coming off of this much rest. We hadn't seen it pretty much all year, except for when they came back, maybe into MLS's back tournament, or even that week and a half maybe they had off between MLS's back and tournament to the regular season. But yeah, seeing them come back, they were rusty for sure. They had that one really good chance early on. Brendan Aronson gets kind of in the box and centers it to Jamiro Montero, and he hits it over the bar kind of uncharacteristically. He didn't finish it. And it was at that point where I was like, oh, it could be one of these nights. Like there's just something off about this team. And then from there, the Union were just late to every ball, and then every second ball. That was the one thing I was shouting the most about. You were saying that I was shouting at the game. I was so angry with the players and their effort to go for second balls, because there was a lot of crosses in from New England, and just sort of the way the game was played, it was pretty choppy. It was, lots of fouling, so lots of restarts. And every time the Union were slow to the first ball and then slow to the second ball. And that's why they got beat the way that they did. Let those 2 goals kind of come in, one off a set piece and one off a counter. And then they didn't have an answer. And at the time, we were a little, maybe confused as to seeing El Sino come in the second half for El Brujo. And now we know, it was injury related, and Brujo was playing on an injury. So props to him for fighting it out. But yeah, even with El Sino on the field, the Union couldn't come back. They couldn't break down a low block again, which is, the same old Union that way, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a very tough way to go out, especially when you are the favorite in a tournament where you can play every single game at home and you had never lost at home. So it was the worst case scenario for the Union coming into the playoffs this year. And I'm still smiling because it really, as much as it sucks, it didn't matter that much because the Union won a trophy. Like I'm going to be that guy. I know time has passed, so people are probably more, likely to understand that and feel that. But even in the moment, like it was a tough night, but the Union won their first trophy this year, and it's definitely some, stepping stones to build on. And now we go into the off season, and we'll see what they can do with bringing in new players and some of the people on the roster. So,
absolutely, yeah. We'll definitely dive into all that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not get something twisted here. This was an absolutely a successful season for the Philadelphia Union. Again, we took another step. We won a trophy. We got silverware. Like we always talk about how we have no rafters. We have nothing in the trophy case. Well, guys, we got something. This is just because some people may think the MLS is an easy league or a trash league, as they like to tell me on TikTok. This is still a hard league to win trophies in. I don't care what you say about the MLS. This is definitely hard, and this was definitely a step in the right direction. We have no choice but to be happy about the Philadelphia Union. Absolutely. Justin, give it to me, baby. What you think of this game? What happened, man? What happened?
I'm still trying to figure that one out. I go back on it, and I honestly think of it. I'm like, there's some moments I could think of. I'm like, but honestly, going into the game, I was pretty dang confident. Not overconfident. Going, okay. I said,
unfortunately, I was overly confident.
Like we know New England. We know how they play.
Yes.
We just gotta do our game, and as the game went on early, I was like, okay, with Tim, I was like, something feels just a little off. Jamiro misses that chance, and I go, huh. And I'm watching it with my dad, and I look at my dad and go, I felt like he just could have kind of put that near post. Like, it felt like a gimme. And then I'm like, oh boy. And then I started noticing two big things. One was El Brujo, and obviously we've talked about that, he was playing injured, but he would dig himself in, and it definitely looked a little off, and it was like, what's going on? And obviously with the injury, you go, okay, it makes a little more sense. Let me back to it. But another thing that I noticed, and it was more prevalent on one side than the other, we talked about this pre-show, was Kai was playing poorly positionally. He sunk in so many times where Tajon Buchanan would just run amok, and it wasn't a problem on the first goal, obviously, because it was a set piece.
Justin, actually, what happened was Kai was still in England, but he's back now. We're good.
Oh, good. Glad to know that he made it back.
Those rumors died down real quick after that game.
But it was like you like the amount of times I'm looking at my dad and I'm screaming at the TV. Why is Kai sunk in?
Yeah,
and I'm because like
we literally say that too. Like
as a I says, but as a goalie, like if you have your defense, if your backs, if there are people coming down the wings and your outside backs are pinched in, it's not a hard idea to go, hey, let me blast it up the wing, because it's going to take that outside back a long time to get out there. And that was the case. Kai looked like crap. It's not going to sugarcoat it.
No,
I was single-handedly the worst game I've ever seen Kai Wagner play in a Union uniform. And I mean, honestly, he might fit right in with West Ham. So if he wants to go there, that might be his cup of tea. But
well, let me ask you something, because obviously, like, I mean, we all saw it. Like, Kai was not playing well, especially in the first half. Would you guys have maybe used one of your subs on taking him out? Maybe put a Matt Real, or would you have just stuck in with it?
I think they were smart to stick with it, because while he might have been playing poorly, bringing Jack and Elsinho in and having Jack at the 6, which I think in hindsight you really should have started Jack. I mean, I know El Brujo was injured, but I think you could have had him on the bench if things were like to have him kind of finish off a game. But I think if not they needed goals, I think you need Kai in there. Like, I think it was kind of a, I mean, when they essentially went to a back three, which is, I mean, I feel like that's kind of what they went to towards like the second half of the second half. You needed Kai to kind of play those attacking options, even if he wasn't playing.
I saw some formations that I've never seen, and I was like asking Tim, Tim, what are they in? And he was just like, I don't know either.
It was like I wanted to say 3-5-2, right? And then I looked at my dad and goes, I think it was like a 3-6-1.
Yeah,
like sounds like Kevin Kincaid tactics over there.
No, I seriously, I looked at it and I was scratching my head, and I'm like, and I looked at my dad and said, oh, it's a 3-5-2. He goes, well, Corey's playing wide. I said, well, there's a, and then I looked at him and I said, who the hell plays a 3-6-1? Like, I was like, that's not even a formation.
Down 2 goals. Yeah. Down 2 goals.
Like, it made no sense, but listen, I will say this, as I was at Heather's house on Saturday for her little take a picture with the supporter shield event, and Morgan Tenza was there, and
hey,
shouts to Morgan, because
she took
a great photo of my father and I, and
nice.
My dad's, as I told my dad, and I've never seen my dad's not a very emotional man, but I've seen him say he's never been prouder than to actually hold a trophy for a Philadelphia team.
Right.
And it meant a lot to him, and it meant a lot to both of us. Soccer was something that kind of brought us together. But as I held that very dense piece of metal, probably at like 30 or 35 pounds, that thing was a heavy sucker.
Well, it's going to weigh more? The MLS Cup when we get it one day, baby. Let's go. All right. But one more point I wanted to point out here. Like, I kind of feel like, and you guys know I love to reference my other Philly sports here, but it kind of feels like when the Eagles in 2010 had that crazy run with Mike Vick and lost to the Packers the first round. Like, guys, the Revs are in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Revs is a team that a lot of people wrote off. My man Justin said Montreal would beat them in the first game, and then we all said that they would beat them. We would beat them in that playoff game. They took care of business against Orlando, and now they got Columbus, which I think that they could win. But guys, they are a hot team. They got hot literally right at the right time.
Listen, John, my predictions went out the window early on. So
same here, man.
Quoting me from that pod is a bit of a folly.
All right, guys. Do we have anything else to put out there before we move on and we never talk about this game ever again?
I got one more thing, and this is just like speculation, but for both of the Eastern Conference teams that had the mini bye, the first and second seed, they both lost. Toronto lost to Nashville as well, who played in the play-in round. So I'm wondering if MLS in the future, doesn't have these types of buys, especially if a season is coming as fast as it was this year, or if they go back to 2 legs for playoff of consequence.
I don't know about that, but I don't think you have 10 teams making the playoffs.
That's very true.
I think that part of it, if you have 10 teams, you simplify it to a week. I think you don't keep.
Yeah,
everyone was rusty after a few weeks.
So my question is, does this help the MLS? Because obviously the American sports fan of me, I love the underdog story. I absolutely eat that crap up when I see that. But I also do see, the year, I'm going to put this term out there, the European snobs, when they're like, this is why the MLS is trash. You have a 8-seeded team going all the way to the final. Dude, how do you not like that? I'm sorry, but that's a great story to tell. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I don't know. I think to a point, if you're an MLS fan, I think you kind of bring it back to you look at now Seattle. Seattle has a chance to win their 3rd trophy
back to back
6 years. You go, it's just like the Golden State Warriors or the Miami Heat of the MLS. It's a little frustrating. I like the parity with having Columbus and New England, and potentially now you're gonna have Minnesota. But you look at Seattle and go, again?
I mean, that's still better than what Serie A and Bundesliga is doing. Do you want to see Juve or Bayern winning 13 years in a row? And that there's not even playoffs there. It's the whoever's got the most points in the regular season wins the title. So, I mean, to me, I think I love these MLS Cup playoffs this year. They have been exciting, except for that Union and New England game, obviously. But I think the MLS is winning, in my honest opinion.
I think too, the point, the reason why I brought it up is I think, like Justin said, in the future, they have to get this, the regular season has to end, and then the next weekend has to be the first playoff game for everybody. I don't think buys help in soccer, especially in a season. I really don't, unless you really have people who are severely injured and then have a chance of playing and they're a star player. That's the only reason. But you saw, the Union won the Shield, they had pretty much 2 full weeks off. I know they were training for most of it, but still, it was, come off that emotional high, wait to play a game, play a team that you might underestimate a little bit because you've beaten them so many times, and then just fall flat on your face. That doesn't do the league good in that way. But an 8-seeded team that plays good soccer and can beat better teams in the playoffs does do the league good. So I see both sides of that there.
I mean, Tim, to your point there, and you look at last year, I mean, what was it, 117? I mean, the top seed was the only team that had the bye.
That's true.
And the Union play on a weekend, and then they play at Atlanta midweek.
Right.
So, if you can get back to that, 10 teams doesn't matter.
Right.
But if you keep a more consistent, it's within a week after the season ends, and then you go a Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, kind of keep consistent, regular, scheduling. I'm okay with how many teams you want in the playoffs. It's just you got to have a bit of a better of a balance than 2 weeks after the season ends.
It's true.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, hey, it was still a great season. We got Supporter Shield. We sold our first big sale, Brandon Aronson. It's crazy today. I was doing my Philly sports updates, and I had to say former Union midfielder Brandon Aronson. It was really weird to say. But guys, let's move on because now we are in our off season, and it's crazy, guys, because I feel like every year, especially over the last couple of years, I feel like we always say like this is a crucial off season in the Union's history. Like I feel like we keep saying this every off season, but the off season has started. Yesterday on Wednesday, Ernst Tanner and Jim Kirchin both addressed the media, announcing some of the moves that the union will be doing as far as some roster things going into next season. So I figured we would talk about some of these and let you know what we think about here. So of course, to start this off, guys, let's look at the players who will unfortunately not be back with our Philadelphia Union. And that actually is a small list. We have 3 players who got their options declined. First up, we have Michi Galina, who was obviously a homegrown product, which I guess the Union just didn't see much of a future with. So he is a free agent, as we like to say. Next up, we have Boop. There it is. Boop. There it is. Andrew Wooten is also no longer going to be here. It was crazy. His legacy with you is going to be very, very interesting. I remember the signing was a big bang. I was actually at the TLA when the Men in Black.
I was too.
Oh yeah, you were there too.
I remember that. I was with a few of my bunch of my friends, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Dude, we hyped that up like it was Marco Fabian again.
And we're like the whole time I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, Wooten's in Philly. Is he coming here?
Proven goal scorer in Germany.
Yeah.
Scored 0 goals for the club. 0.
Well, one
over like 400 minutes, right?
Well, one if you're including, I mean, not technically it's not an MLS goal,
Oh, in the Open Cup.
MLS's back tournament.
He did score there. Sorry, I forgot.
But it was, I mean, listen,
and he scored in a friendly
too,
I believe, last year.
Yeah, I feel like he just never. I mean, a mid-season acquisition is kind of doomed from the start.
Yeah.
And then that next season is supposed to be that next thing, and I mean, he was in great shape. I think he just kind of like.
It's so weird too because you guys remember when he came on in his first game against RSL, he was a sub. He scored a goal, but it was called offsides, which I still think it wasn't. But hey, we're not going to look back to that.
It was his first touch too. That was his first ever touch, and he scored a goal. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be it!" No.
And guys, like one has to think, like, what if that wasn't called offsides and he scores that goal, and the Union somehow find a way to win that match? Like things have turned differently for Wooten.
Andrew Wooten in the Ring of Honor, Johnny. Is that what you're buying here? That's.
But it's crazy because Tim just said it. Like he was a proven goal scorer in Germany, and this guy lost out his job to Corey Burke, who, let's face it, like we don't know what kind of shape. Obviously, I guess he was in good shape because Corey beat out Andrew Wooten for the job. But
Corey was in damn fine shape. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, we are so happy Corey's back. And the last option decline, guys. This one actually was a little upsetting. He's a little bit from the play on the pitch, but more so the impact that he's had on the community here in Philadelphia. Warren Crable is not back, and that kind of sucks, guys. That really does suck. You love guys like Warren, you really do.
Yeah. Warren was as we like to call him, and didn't know in our section was Warren was a guy. Listen, he wasn't going to light up the stat sheet. Nah. He was honestly he is Philly. Like you look at
110%, brother.
You look 110%. At what he did. Like he put in a workman-like effort all the time.
Yep.
Never complained. Did whatever. Said, "Coach, you want me to go in there for 20 minutes to kill the clock? No problem. Let's go. I'm gonna break in those tackles." I mean, he'd go in there and he'd bring a crunching tackle within like 30 seconds of getting on the field.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, off the field, he was an insanely nice guy. Super friendly guy.
And let's not forget to mention those comfortable as sexy as T-shirts. I'm sure you have one as well. I haven't seen you with it.
I do have one. It's a little tight forming.
Yeah.
I should have maybe gone like I do with my soccer shirt to be a little size larger. But I mean, listen, Warren did a lot of good stuff off the field. And he was one player that you could say I'm proud that a guy like that is on my team.
100%, man.
I mean, it was one of those, like, I figured Warren was kind of 50-50 in my mind. He might come back, he might not. I wasn't sure how the team was going to look at it. They figure maybe, I mean, depending on like, okay, you got a bunch of young guys coming in.
That's had a lot of
that option. I'm like, that might be why you moved on.
And we still have to see what sex season's all about.
Yeah.
That's another factor to it too. I think Jim does really want to give him a good shot next season, and like you said, we have a couple homegrowns that are coming up, who Jim also wants to see what they have. But I think that the union would rather fill positions from the youth academy in the homegrown system, rather than going out and buying. So I guess for Warren with age. Warren really just provides a spark and energy, and he's a great defensive minded CDM. Yeah. But I think for the union just made sense to part ways there. But that one definitely hurt. But that's the nature of the business, guys. That is the nature of the business. All right. What's that? I'm sorry.
No, agreed. I going back on, and I'll go briefly with Mitchie.
Yeah.
Mitchie was kind of Mitchie was a guy that was a winger in a system that didn't require wingers when we transitioned over. It was similar to Fafa and Akam, just unfortunately didn't, and you couldn't pigeonhole him into that system, even when you kind of switch with Nelsinho on. It sucked. He was a nice kid. He was a kid that showed a lot of promise, and I remember watching some of the Steel games and some of the friendlies. He showed promise, but in that roster, in a wingerless system, it's nearly impossible to get on the field.
Do you think he'll get a waiver from an MLS team, or do you think like he's
I 100%? I think he will. Yeah. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he was similar to like a Jonathan Lewis, where he didn't work out with FC and he goes to Colorado. I think if he goes to a team that wants young talent, I could even see him potentially going to, say, in Austin.
Okay.
A team that might be loading up.
Oh, what about Nashville?
I think they're gonna. Well, I think either team, they're gonna load up on young talent.
Yeah.
And so I really hope he does do well. I am rooting for the kid. It's mainly like Derek Jones and Taylor Washington, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Ken Tribbett. Like, a lot of ex-Union players, for the most part, if you were a good player and you kind of like did tried your best, even if you didn't play much, I always kind of have a soft spot for those players. So I hope he does do well somewhere else, and it actually wouldn't surprise me if Wooten even potentially landed somewhere else in MLS before going back. I mean, just a thought.
Yeah. Maybe Chicago now has the opportunity to get him because they clearly wanted him back when the Union got him. So maybe Chicago takes a little flyer.
It's true. They did get rid of CJ, so they have a spot.
Oh man, that's a topic for another day. Okay, so guys, so now we have two people at the Union. They allowed them to be free agents, but they have the opportunity to sign them back, and that is one, Joe Bendigface, and two, Aurelian St. John, as we like to call him here on the podcast. So
that was in your in the marriage certificate, right? It goes
him that's it.
And Aurelian marrying Courtney.
He had to sign it too. It was kind of awkward. I'm just kidding. Aurelian, if you're listening, we love you.
We love you, you damn sexy Frenchman.
I mean, besides Courtney's eyes, I mean, we all can agree here that both these guys, it's just great veteran voices to have in the dressing room.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to come out and Joe's not going to always give you a clean sheet. Aurelian might really's not the same player he once was, but it's great to have that veteran leadership. And for a coach like Jim, he can always rely on those type of voices in our dressing room. So if they bring him back,
but what you
enjoy
can rely on for Aurelian is damn short shorts. My man has got legs. The man has got some good legs. I'm not gonna lie here.
Oh shit! I'm trying to get those legs. Shit.
Listen. Aurelian does not skip leg day.
No, you cannot.
He makes it apparent, especially when he, when he walks over and Courtney screams, "Hey, Colin," and
Oh, he hikes those. He hikes those things up even higher.
Oh my god!
They look like tiny whiteys.
It's one of those you just go, damn you, sexy Frenchman! Like, what are you doing, man? Like, even occasionally, my girlfriend comes to the game. She goes, "Who's that dude with the short shirts?" I go, "Don't do." I said, "Stupid, sexy Colin."
Awesome.
No, it's good to see the club is talking with them though. These two veteran players. It's good that MLS actually has a free agent system in place for people who have been in the league for a long time, so they can negotiate contracts with other teams if they wanted to, which the other teams wanted to give them a better deal. But I think that both of these players will be working with Ernst and we'll get a comparable deal that won't block a lot of cap space or anything like that. But I expect them to be back as well. I'd be a little disappointed if actually they weren't back because I think they're two important pieces to the locker room.
Oh, 110%. You need those type of guys for sure. Okay, guys. So now let's talk about who is back. Who did the Union exercise the options for? So in that category, ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, the goalie of the year, Mr. Andre Brickwall Blake. We have one Anthony Fontana, Matt Rial, Ray Gaddis. Yes, I know Paul Catrino is upset about that one. Olivier Dyson. The Machine Kai Wagner, and of course, the cheat code is back yet again. Union Hulk is trying to sign the petition for a 10-year contract for Elsinio. I think we're gonna get there, Hulky. I think we're gonna get there.
Listen, Elsinio essentially it is Philadelphia. Like,
yes,
his children will be the future of the academy.
Wait, whoa, hold on. You guys were not going to tell me that Elsinio is a Twitch streamer here? This guy's a freaking whole gamer. I had no idea.
We didn't know. We didn't know until he got a Twitter. Now he got a Twitter and he just keeps promoting it.
I had no idea, and then like all of a sudden,
I came out of nowhere.
Well, everyone in because I mean I have a Twitch, but I mean I follow it mostly for like the Cooligans and when Liam does his streams, occasionally I'll watch in, and then my gamer the gamer guys on the Discord were like, oh yeah, Elsinio's got a Twitch, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, he plays Call of Duty, and so I hopped in on one of them, and I was his son was running in the background. And I go, oh, is that our future our future Union Academy product? He goes, haha, maybe. And I'm like,
please.
Oh my god. I'm like Elsinio knows how to play to make us putty in his hands. It's like, guys, that smile, man. That smile does it all.
So for me, here's the thing. I'm on board with Elsinio coming back again, but I guess I get worried because teams know what it is when he comes on the pitch. People know when we're stuck in the 60th minute, we're gonna bring him on, and people know what we're trying to do when he comes in. And my worry is, this has been what 3 years that we've seen, the Elsinio cheat code coming in the second half. I guess I worry about the options that Jim's going to have coming off the bench. We can't just have Elsinio. Now, Fontana gave us an extra spark too, a little part of the season. I was talking with Tim during the match. I thought that Fontana should have gone in a little earlier in the match. When we saw Elsinio and Anthony chalking it up on the sidelines, warming up before in the New England match. So that's my only concern with Elsinio. But of course, we're all down for Elsinio coming back. Like it's a win-win situation.
For all the stuff we talk about, teams figuring him out, this season he weren't as reliant on him. So when he did come in, it definitely was more impactful. Like, the season prior, 2019, he definitely was 100%. It was Elsinio coming on the bench and off the bench, and if he didn't do anything, then we were losing the game.
Yeah.
But I think this season it wasn't so much we were relying on him. It was, we still got Elsinio coming off the bench. Like, we can still do that and not have to worry about we can change our formation slightly, but we still have a impactful roster. And yeah, he had a decent season, but it was like, okay, you have a guy that you can bring on for 25, 30 minutes in a decent amount of games, and still have him fresh. Like that's his role now, and I think he realizes that. And I think keep coming back means that he wants, like, he still wants to be a part of what whatever that we're doing here.
To be honest, I was kind of surprised that they picked up his option. I thought that Elsinho was going to go into another year like last year, where he was kind of out of contract, and that they might negotiate with him. I'm happy that they picked up his option, and just for the reason alone that he can be a valuable asset off the bench. But we have a lot of other players now too, young homegrowns coming up that play, in some capacity, not to what Elsinho is. He's an out-and-out winger. He's pretty much the only out-and-out winger that the Union have now. But there's a lot of other homegrowns that can kind of fit in the system. So we'll have to see if Elsinho will keep his spot there moving forward.
Keep developing youth academy. Teach these kids how to, do these cheat codes that you got, man. I want to create 10 little seniors.
Highlights and just go do that.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, we're gonna have to sell you to Red Bull. Awesome.
Threat.
We've also talked about Fontana plenty on this pod. You guys know my thoughts. I feel like he continues playing like he did last year, and Jim gives him. Now, I did hear that next season he will get the shot at the number 10, but it looks like he'll be switching back between the 10 and the 8, which I'm excited for his role next season. Brandon's gone and leaves a hole, but it also opens opportunities up for different guys. Fontana, some of these other homegrowns that we have, and also to the rumor that we're going to get to in 1 second. So, Fontana coming back, I'm excited for that one as well. And of course, Kai Wagner coming back. I mean, we'll see what happens. I do think that match hurt a little bit, but there's still a possibility he's still going to get sold. But if he does get sold, then we did also option or exercise the option for Matt Real too. So we are set the left back position, guys.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, and so before we move on to the next topic here, I just wanted to give you guys the roster so far, the players under contract into 2021. So we have, of course, Little Aronson, Paxton Aronson. We have Alejandro Bedoya, Corey Burke, Brandon Craig, Jack DeVries, Jack Elliott, Matt Freese, Jakob Glesnes, Nathan Harrell, El Brujo Martinez, Jack McGlynn, Mark McKenzie, Jamiro Monteiro, Matish Orvich, Casper Shabilko, Sergio Santos, Quinn Sullivan, and Cole Turner. All right, guys. So the last thing I want to talk about here. So we are officially in the offseason. Now it's about rumors. It's about how do we shape this roster to be better than what it was in 2020, which is a Supporters Shield winning team. So Tim, what do you need to see from the Union this offseason to improve this roster better than what it was this past year?
I mean, honestly, I know we were just talking about Anthony Fontana at the 10, but this is another off season where we're coming into it without the penciled in starter. I mean, maybe last year was the first year in a while when we knew that Brendan Aronson was, going to be the guy. So I think coming into this off season again, it's going to be, can Ernst Tanner find a 10, or is that where they're going to look, to build the roster? He's going to bring in players. He's shown that. He's going to bring in some mid-tier players that are going to be hungry for an opportunity in MLS to raise their stock and possibly get sold off in the future. Does another number 10 come in? For my money, I would think that they would look more so for a starting caliber striker. Maybe we've seen that Fontana can sort of, he can play the 10 well. Obviously he's different. He's not as much as a facilitator as he is a goal scoring number 10. But if you,
more of the mold of like Marco Fabian, right? You would say.
I actually
likes to score.
Yeah, I think he's more like Roland Dahlberg, except that he plays defense. I really do. I think that Fontana plays similarly to Roland Dahlberg, except he's willing to play defense, which is why Jim has said that he can play the 8 as well. That's what I see from there. No, I love Roland Dahlberg. He scored a lot of goals. So yeah, that was great. But no, I think that the Union will look at a 10 or a striker, and I think that's what Ernst is going to look for, and possibly someone who is maybe worth a little bit more now that things are going a little bit well, and we got Champions League coming up, and you need that pure goal scorer. We haven't really seen it from Casper and Sergio in all of the games that they've played. Casper might be the better finisher, and Sergio might have more of the flair. But the two of them together, we kind of know what we get. They're a great tandem, and I love when they're on the field together. But I think if you bring in, a bigger, not a bigger name, but maybe someone who's worth a little bit more, who has that goal scoring pedigree, kind of like an asshole a little bit. Like, you need that guy. Like, you need that as a striker to score some of those goals. So I think maybe that's where they kind of base things. But honestly, for the offseason, it's in Ernst we trust. Like, I trust him. I think he's going to find the right players for this system. Obviously, we know they're bringing up a bunch of homegrown players. So that doesn't cost them a lot of money. So he has some money at his disposal now. Whether or not they invest it all back into the academy, or if they actually buy some players who are worth a little bit more than what we're used to seeing, I think that'll kind of be the key difference here. And that's what I'll be looking for in the offseason.
Look, I know that everyone in Philly is super duper excited about BDM, Big Daryl Morey, what he's done with the Sixers. I know that Chuck Fletcher put together a playoff team, but I'm sorry, Ernst Tanner is the best athletic director / GM in Philadelphia. So yes, what Tim said in Ernst, we absolutely trust. And I think that the consensus with a lot of Union fans, we do trust Ernst Tanner, number one, but number two, I think that we all agree, like I think we need to go out and buy and find that replacement for Brandon Aronson. And I think it's time, guys. Like, I think we've said this how many times over the past couple of off seasons. Let's go find that guy who, can, example, against New England, you need a goal. Yeah. Who's going to get you that goal? Who is going to step up and be that absolute dog and get you that goal? Who's going to be the Joseph Martinez, that Raul Ruiz? We need that mold in Philly. And I love what Casper's done here. His stats speak for themselves. Sergio Santos as well. I love the flair, like Tim alluded to, that he brings as well. But again, in situations like against New England, against Portland, in the MLS's back tournament, you need a goal, and those guys, I don't want to say disappeared, but just didn't play to their full potential. And we saw on Tuesday night, Casper not finishing runs and some different stuff like that. So I 100% agree with you. I think that we need to spend that dough on that striker, and then find that Ernst likes to find those diamonds in the rough around the world. I think you should do that with the 10. I definitely think you should do that with the 10, and then spend the money on that striker, because I think that's really that's the piece that's going to take us from just a Supporter Shield winner, just winning in the first, second round, to getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's my goal. My goal next year is Eastern Conference Finals. I don't care if we win. I just want to get in that dance, and then we'll move forward there.
One more thing before I let Justin go, because I know Justin
absolutely
on this too. I think too they should find a TAM level right back to come in.
Okay.
Because I love Ray Gaddis. I love Olivier Mbaizo from what we've seen from him, but we all know that they're both flawed in certain areas, either in the attack or in defending. I think you have to find a guy that can really be a wingback in this type of system, that can push the tempo, sort of like what we've seen with Kai. So I wouldn't be surprised too if maybe they're looking at someone like that. But
I wouldn't mind it. I would like one that could play both sides, if I'm being honest with you.
That'd be pretty cool too. Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. All right, Justin. Justin's got the eyes. He's ready to unleash. Tell us how are we taking this roster from Supporter Shield being bounced in the first round to the freaking Eastern Conference Finals? Take it away, Justin.
Honestly, you guys kind of both, summarize a few of my points. I think for me, there's 4 positions really that you need.
He's giving us 4 positions,
but I think there's only really, I'm gonna say 2 of them that I think you need to spend a little higher on.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the lower positions. I think you need I think another younger center back, someone who, because
we were rumored for that Argentinian kid.
Well, so I have the feeling that we could have a sale, of a certain guy who might be wanted by Celtic or might be wanted by other teams.
Yeah, we even talked about that.
So there's a potential for that. But And then also the center attacking mid. I really think you don't need to spend a ton on that.
Right.
Because it's clear that, like, I mean, Ernst is good at finding those diamonds in the rough, and I'm confident that for slightly lesser funds, you can find a guy like a decent attacking mid who can at least help to facilitate and or at least be an energizer like Brandon was this year. The two positions that I definitely think need to be spent on. Tim said it best. I'm not saying a right back, but Johnny, you even point an outside back that potentially could play both sides.
Yeah.
I would not mind a slightly higher investment in an outside back if that outside back can get up and back.
Yeah.
And someone that has a little bit of a flair, because this team definitely had a little bit of sauce, there's a little bit
sauce.
of a sauce, some flair, some added oomph, and
it's the gravy.
Yeah, it's the gravy, it's the marinara. It was that stuff, just that chef's kiss that you're going, oh man, like where's this been? So I would not mind another outside back that could potentially set the league ablaze. And I know I said this earlier, but tell Ernst, go, listen, let's spend about 2, maybe 3 million. Let's get a striker. Let's get a guy. Not saying go and get Zlatan or.
I think it has to be the biggest sale in history.
Just go and get a guy who, regardless if you've heard of him, someone that's gonna go down and go. It's gonna be ruthless in front of the net, a la Joseph Martinez, a la Raul Rui Diaz, or even say an Alan Polito, a guy that's gonna go, hey. Yeah. It's my job to score goals. I'm going to be an asshole, and I'm good to score goals. Like, at that point, let's do that. Like, and I know we talk about it almost every year, striker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at the teams that are left, and, I mean, outside of, like, I'm going to say Minnesota, because I don't think they necessarily have that striker per se. All the other teams have a striker that they've invested at least like $2 or $3 million in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to go crazy, but $2 or $3 million is definitely worth a young player who is goal hungry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to spend that 4 to 5. I think this needs to be the biggest signing in Union history. Like that's what I think we need to do. And again, I agree with you. I don't think you need to go out and get Zlatan type of player, but yeah, go find that Joseph Martinez. Go find that Raul Ruiz Diaz. Alain Polido as well came from Liga MX. Go find that. There's a lot of goal scoring going on in Liga MX. Or find that guy that kind of, has been trotting around Europe in some of the bigger leagues and, wants to really prove himself like Josef Martinez kind of did with Torino, and then he comes over to Atlanta United and blows it up. Like someone like that. Like this needs to be a splash. This needs to be, like you said, this guy needs to be a little bit of a cocky asshole.
Aaron Johansson. Yay.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
Free transfer, baby.
I think this is a topic that we will dabble into in the next couple of weeks as we are in the off season. We'll do some episodes, talking about potential Union players that we could be looking at or we want them to be looking at. I did that last year on YouTube, and I thought that was a lot of fun. So maybe we can do that here as well. But yeah, guys, the off season is here. It's kind of sucks, but now we get to find out how do we get better. We get to play GMs, and I like doing that sometimes, right? Yeah, right. Especially for the Eagles right now. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening again. That is all we have for you today. And again, guys, I know it's upsetting. We had high hopes. We expected to be still playing, but things happen for a reason. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe our time is coming sooner than you think. So don't you dare give up on us. Don't give up. Don't give up. I will give Tim and Justin the opportunity. Any last words for the listeners before we sign off?
My last thought is just to continue on a little bit of the striker conversation. I wouldn't be surprised. I know we're going to be talking about this a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised too if Ernst maybe looks in MLS or for a veteran type of player.
Don't say Dom Dwyer. Don't say Dom Dwyer.
I don't know. I don't think Dom Dwyer is the guy. That's more.
That would be interesting.
That would be a depth signing. I'm just talking about once we see a lot more rosters kind of get filled in for 2021 and we see people whose options are declined or who are free agents, if there is a bigger name striker there, maybe it's a little bit easier to get that deal done because they're, more domestic or they're in the league already. They're a little bit more accustomed to it. Something that Ernst hasn't really done is sign, bigger name MLS players. He's gotten some depth MLS players like, Aurelian Collin and some other players too in time.
Do you think he would like that though? Do you think he would be for, going out some of these veteran MLS players?
Probably not. No, I think they're worth looking at depending on where the rosters fall. Like, who knows what's going to happen in Toronto? There's a lot of turmoil up there. Their coach just,
I know.
Greg Vanney left.
That was wild.
There's been rumors that maybe
Josie to the Union
might be, he's as much as he has injury concerns, he's a goal scorer, right? He's a proven goal scorer. He's that asshole on the field.
Wouldn't be opposed to it. That's the sad thing.
You have to keep tabs on those type of guys too. And again, then you're not necessarily breaking the bank. But this is all rumor mill for later. I know we're at the end of the podcast.
So, Justin, with the injury history, with whatever's in the water here in Philadelphia, you want another injury-prone player in Philly? Josie's gonna walk down Broad Street.
It's Wooder. Not water.
Josie's gonna walk down Broad Street and tear an ACL.
Forget I said it.
Good stuff, Justin. Any last words for these lovely listeners that we have?
Listen, it's been a damn fine season.
We
want a nice big dinner plate.
Yes, sir.
And we'll honestly we'll be bringing some offseason talk in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna get wacky.
Hey,
we're gonna get really wacky.
We want a trophy. Let's not forget that fact. We have that trophy for a year. So people who are Twitter complaining about not seeing the shield, trust me, you'll see the shield eventually. You'll see the shield. We have a damn year.
And we might still have that replica one too. I wouldn't be surprised if they bought it off that guy and just like
I think they were. I think they
magneted it to like the metal end down there by the clubhouse. Like what if it's just there forever? It's just the only shield in history that's there forever. I'm fine with that. That's fine.
I'm fine with that.
We should put it in the stadium. We should just like put it in like a little like we'll put it on the wall. We'll keep something to protect it. And then every time you walk by, man, we're in Stitch and Supporter Shield history.
It's got that industrial magnet on it, so you could literally magnet it to the side of the stadium down on the other side there, not the river end, but the other side where there's that big metal wall. You can just
let's do it.
Right there.
Let's do it. I love it, guys. I absolutely love it. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for listening. This is the first episode of the off season, and it is in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to listen to this on PSN Radio, as well as if you want to watch us doing this podcast, this will be on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to that channel as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by Justin Freiberg and Tim Lovinguth. I'm El Parcero Philly, and we are telling you guys to do ball. You guys enjoy the rest of your week.